Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Greg Riedel. We have just seen Peter McGrail beat Mark Leach via unanimous decision in Liverpool to return to winning ways. Greg, good to speak to you. Dominant performance by Peter McGrail tonight. What did you make of it?
I thought it was a really good performance, Elliot. Thanks very much for having me. As always, I thought it was a very, very aggressive but controlled performance by Peter McGrail. I'm disappointed with Mark Leach. I thought that he maybe would have came thinking, I've been British champion. I can beat this guy if I really put my mind to it. I thought he was quite negative, but very impressed by Peter McGrail. Thought it was a good performance.
Yeah, won won every round on one of the judges' scorecards. Won 9 rounds on the other two judges' scorecards, so it looked very, very dominant. I don't think anyone can really argue against that. And as you said, just kind of Mark Leach, a good fighter, former British champion. But do you think it was a case of Mark Leach just didn't want to get stopped tonight, or do you think he just couldn't handle the pace of McGrail? Why do you think Mark Leach fought the way he fought?
I think it was a perfect mixture of both, Elliot. I think that he quickly realised he probably couldn't beat Peter McGrail, and he probably realised that
Mm.
if he doesn't put on a terrible performance, it's going to give him further opportunities in the future if he goes the distance with McGrail. So I think it was a bit of both, but yeah, I think that very early in the fight you could see the pattern, and yeah, it was a fantastic performance by Peter McGrail.
Yeah, solid 10 rounds against good fighter, main event, home city of Liverpool, so would have had a lot of his friends and family there and dominated the fight. Just one more thing on the fight before we move on, Greg. I think we mentioned in our final predictions video yesterday, or today, sorry, that video went out, about McGrail being possibly gun shy here. It was a bad knockout that he suffered last time out against Jericho O'Quinn. Did you think he was gun shy today? Like, did he look down on confidence at all? Or what did you think of that part of his performance?
Well, first of all, I just want to say congratulations, Elliot, on the final predictions video. You were right. You said you
Oh,
thought it would
okay.
go to points, but in my defence, I did think that Mark Leach was very, very negative. I didn't expect that, but you were right. No, I don't think that he's gun shy. If I can be honest with you, Elliot, you know me, I've always got a comparison with a fight. There was elements to that fight that reminded me of Sean Porter, Paulie Malignaggi without the finish.
Mm.
Paulie Malignaggi went to win that fight, and that's why he got knocked out by Sean Porter, whereas Mark Leach didn't go to win the fight. I don't think anyway. Um, so no, I don't think that Peter McGrail was gun shy. I think that he just maybe lacks a bit of power. And I said to you during the fight, it's a travesty. Some of the things me and Barry Jones said almost at the same time, and I think that's all that's missing with Peter McGrail. It is such a shame he doesn't have that one punch power because he's a special fighter if he has that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree with you. He does look very good, and we'll see what he does next. It was such a shame that he kind of had that cut. It was like what the last 30 seconds of the final round.
Yeah.
Have to see when he's next in the ring. Do you want to ask you a couple of potential fights that could happen this year, Greg? Dennis McCann is the British super bantamweight champion. A very impressive victory over Brad Strand, who's actually Peter McGreal's stablemate. They come from the same gym in Liverpool. How far away do you think McGrail is from being in a position to challenge Dennis McCann? Dennis McCann, undefeated fighter, obviously had that draw against Beluta last year. Rumors are he's going to rematch Beluta. I think it's in July. That fight's supposed to be happening. Do you think that is a fight that we could see maybe before the end of this year? Is that a fight that you want to see? What are your thoughts on that one?
Peter McGrail beats Dennis McCann now.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I just think that Dennis McCann is a very, very good fighter, but Dennis McCann and Peter McGrail, there's a difference in skill level. Dennis McCann, he's not the biggest puncher either. We thought that he might be the way that he started his career. Peter McGrail has got quite a few stoppages the way he started his career.
Mm.
Um, I just think it's going to come down to skill level, and I don't think that there's much of a comparison. I think that Peter McGrail he's too skilled for him. But do you know something? It's a fight I really want to see, Elliot, and I think it'd be a very, very good fight. But if Peter McGrail goes into that fight with a game plan, he'll beat Dennis McCann.
Yeah, it's a fight that could sell quite well in Liverpool, I think.
Yeah,
Dennis McCann's just beaten a Scouser. Peter McGrail is a Scouser. Peter McGrail would have kind of increased his stock tonight in Liverpool with that win. So maybe we'll see that fight. Tonight was an eliminator for the British title. What that actually means, we don't know. It was for some sort of WBA title as well. But
yeah.
we'll see what's next with Peter McGrail. Final one from me, Greg, before we call it a night. Um, the Jericho O'Quinn rematch. Let's not forget that's the fight we were supposed to see tonight. It would have been interesting to have seen what would have happened. I had tried to do a bit of research, but it's unclear to me why that fight didn't happen tonight. I think there was some sort of personal private issues for O'Quinn. Seems to be quite secretive on his Instagram page. I'm not convinced we will see that rematch, but what are your thoughts on whether we will see it? What would happen if we do?
Yeah, I think it's known by now within the group. I'm a Peter McGrail fan, Elliot. I've looked a bit into it. I think that Jericho Quinn said that he had family problems. If he does, our thoughts go out to him. I hope everything's okay. But you can't think that there's an element of why would Jericho Quinn knock out Peter McGrail in America and then come to Liverpool for a rematch for probably less money. Um, yeah, I think if there's a rematch, I think Peter McGrail beats him quite handily. I think he would probably stop Jericho Quinn. Peter McGrail made a mistake in that fight. He was winning everything in his pro career very easily. He switched off for a second and realised just how hard the pro game is. But I think in a rematch, I don't think he would make the same mistake.
No, we will see. We will see. See if there's a rematch. We'll see if there's a fight against Dennis McCann. Look, we don't know what kind of what's going to happen to the British Super Bantamweight title in the next few months. Whether Dennis McCann wants to keep hold of it, wants to will relinquish it, and then Peter McGrail could be fighting somebody else before the end of the year. We'll see. But I do think that it's nice to see McGrail get back to winning ways. I've got one final question for you, Greg, and I did want to ask you this yesterday, but I forgot to be honest. Natasha Jonas it says this is her final year in boxing. Liam Smith, um, he's probably in the grander stages of his career now. Callum Smith, we're not sure where he's at now after that fight against Beterbiev. We don't know if he's going to fight against Liverpool again. Liverpool's a fighting city. You've had great fighters come from Liverpool in the past. Do you think Peter McGrail is the guy who is most capable of headlining the Echo Arena in the next few years, really? Is he that Scouser, or is there someone else who you think might kind of might eclipse that?
I think you, if I'm really thinking with a logical head, Elliot, which I always try and do anyway, it's kind of got to be Peter McGrail with the success he's had as an amateur,
Mm.
with all his skill set. It's kind of got to be him. There's probably some good kids coming through. I don't doubt it. But Peter McGrail was a really highly thought
Yeah.
of amateur, very very good. I never said it in the video yesterday, but I'm going to say it today. The nickname Peterchenko,
Mm.
that didn't come for nothing. So
Yeah.
he's very very skilled. So as you know, I'm a Liverpool fan myself. So yeah, I think that Peter McGrail probably is that guy, but he's got a way to go. I think we're going to need to find a substitute for this lack of power that he seems to have. Whether it's targeting the body earlier in fights, he needs to find another way to make opponents respect him. And I
Yeah.
think Mark Leach did respect him, but as you go up the levels, Elliot, these Mexicans and things that they're not going to respect you. You need to find a way to do that. So very interesting to see what happens going forward.
We shall see. Greg, thank you for your time. Always good to review these sites with you, and I will speak to you again soon.
Thank you, Elliot.